Chapter 41. City Herbs Weapons Shop. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace and Eva were currently heading towards the City Herbs Weapons Shop. After some twists and turns, they finally saw a big 10-story building. There was a big signboard in front of the shop. City Herbs Weapons Shop was written on it. It was a shop that was directly controlled by City Lord's family, the Kaysen family. Before entering the shop, Ace saw a familiar luxurious carriage was parked outside of the shop. It was the same carriage he saw outside of the city yesterday, and because of this carriage, he and Eva were able to get inside the city unnoticed. Eva also recognized that carriage the instant she saw it. Should we leave and come back on another time? She asked him in low voice. She didn't want to get into any trouble with this kind of person. Ace also saw from afar that the shop was almost empty and only some guards and attendants were present. Is it because of the owner of the carriage? He thought for a moment and was about to agree with Eva's suggestion of leaving. When he saw a beautiful young lady with blonde hair wearing a luxurious gown walk out of the shop. Following her were some maids. She didn't even notice her surroundings and nonchalantly enters the carriage with her maids behind. After she enters her carriage, the guards who were standing outside the shop hurriedly form two lines around the carriage and the carriage starts to move towards the exit of the market. She's not simple at all. Ace comments on seeing the blonde-haired girl. Because he could sense her cultivation was at the early stage of the Qi Foundation building realm. There are 4 stages of the Qi Foundation building realm: early, mid, high, and peak. That girl was around the same age as Eva's or a little older than her, but she was already at the early stage of the Qi Foundation building realm. Eva's senses were not as high as Ace and she didn't have his true and false eyes or soul sense, so she didn't know why he said those words. And she thinks that he was complimenting that blonde girl's beauty. She felt displeased for some reason and puffed while saying, "Humph. See, enough. Let's go to that shop." She didn't give him any chance and starts to march towards the shop's entrance while ignoring him. Ace becomes confused after seeing her acting this way. What happened to her? He thinks and chases after her. Now that carriage was gone, the customers begin to enter the shop again. They enter the big shop and head straight towards the counter where an old man was sitting. That old saw both Ace and Eva were young and smile like a senior while saying, "How can I help you?" Eva says in an impolite tone before Ace could say a single word. "Do you sell storage bags and soft armor for females here?" Ace was helpless after seeing her acting this way. He could sense that she was in a bad mood for some reason and let her do what she wants for time being. The old man saw Eva's dominating attitude and smiled knowingly towards Ace and said, "Yes, we have all the things you need, especially storage bags. Only our shop sells them in the entire city. You can head towards the 5th floor after you show 1,000,000 ruby coins. This is the rule of our shop." Ace was amazed by this rule because 1,000,000 ruby coins were a lot in River Flower City, and here they have to show them just to go on upper-level floors of the shop. One has known that he only got 5,000,000 ruby coins in that Kelby family treasury, and even Ryland's wealth came from a kingdom-level expert. Eva didn't say anything and only looked towards Ace with anger-filled eyes. Ace didn't delay anymore after seeing her fierce eyes and take a yellow crystal card from his pocket. On the card were 1,000,000 and a symbol of the ruby coin was engraved. This was the ruby crystal card that used to carry a big amount of money. That old man didn't say anything after seeing that ruby crystal card in his hand and winked towards an attendant. She quickly comes forward, "Honorable customer, please follow me." They both followed the attendant towards the upper floors and reached their destination on the 5th floor of the shop. The 5th floor of the shop was much grander looking than the 1st floor. There were rows of shelves here and on them were all kinds of shining weapons, armors, and pills. One could see them through the glass. Eva completely forgets about her temper when she saw all those armors. She wanted to steal all of them but quickly forget about it after thinking, "We'll only steal from bad guys." Ace wasn't much impressed by all those treasures because he already saw all those treasures from the kingdom. They were only 1-star weapons and white-grade pills here. An old lady was sitting behind the counter. She was the floor master of the 5th floor and her cultivation was at the peak of Chi Gate's realm. She saw Ace and Eva coming on her floor and said expressionlessly, "What do you need?" She didn't like talking much and only cared for important guests, and in her eyes, Ace was not important at all, so she gets straight to business. Ace didn't mind her attitude. He was here for shopping, not for gaining anyone's respect. But Eva was different from him and said in displeased manner, "Did your shop always greets their customers this way?" That old lady didn't even flinch and said in disdain, "You may leave if you're here for wasting my time." You. She was going to quarrel when she felt Ace's hand firmly holding her shoulder. He didn't want to make a scene and said while smiling, "We want to buy 2 storage bags and a 1-star armor for my sister." That old lady didn't pay attention to Eva anymore and said in an ordering tone, "Go fetch the storage bags he wants." The girl who bought Ace and Eva here, hurriedly leaves after receiving her order. She knows too well just how much rude this old lady was, and no one can do anything about it because she is a member of the Kaysen family. "You can choose any armor from this floor," she said to Ace. Ace didn't say anything and winked towards Eva, who was fuming with rage. She takes a deep breath and shot a fearsome gaze towards that rude old lady. After calming down a bit, she ignores that nasty lady and starts selecting armor for herself with Ace. There were many types of armor here on display, but all of them were too flashy and she didn't like them, so she chose a full-bodied soft armor for female in black color. Ace was also looking around without any interest. He has some armors way better than these on display, but they were all heavy armors, and his skills were mostly focusing on speed, so he can't wear them nor Eva. He wanted to sell them all once he reached a kingdom for chi stones, since he has more than enough ruby coins. Ace was just about to shift his gaze elsewhere when he notices a black hood in a display of armors. It was a hood with a dark blue pattern and his eyes sparkle. "I want that black hood as well," he said to the rude old lady. After some time, the servant girls come back with 2 little green bags in her hand. She didn't hand them to Ace directly and gave them to the old lady. She also took that black soft armor and hood from the display and placed them on the counter in front of the old lady. "Anything else?" she asked Ace in an emotionless voice. "No," Eva answered before Ace could in an annoying manner. 2 storage bags, and 2 1-star soft armors. 1 million ruby coins. She directly told them the collective price. Ace raised his eyebrow after hearing the price. 1 million was not much for him, but the way she was talking to them in stars to get on his nerve, and looked towards that old lady waist and there was a black storage bag hanging. He got a good idea to teach her an unforgivable lesson. "This is your 1 million. He gave that 1 million crystal card to that lady and grabbed those storage bags and armors. He didn't give Eva any chance to say anything. He held her smooth hand and dragged her towards the exit of the floor. After leaving the shop, Eva below in anger, "Why don't you let me teach her a lesson?" She was confident in her skills and wants to fight that old hag, and after they can just escape the shop unharmed. But he didn't let her do as she'd planned, and that's why she was now furious. "Just take this and don't draw too much attention towards us." Ace ignored her angry face and gave her a black storage bag while smiling. She was about to argue with him when she saw that black storage bag and become confused. "Didn't we buy green color bags?" He, "Do you believe me if I say that this storage bag is old hag's?" Ace laughed as he gave that storage bag to Eva. "Really?" She quickly received that bag from Ace and saw inside were 4 million ruby coins, crystal cards, some clothing and other stuff for a woman, and a 1-star whip. Since these 1-star weapons cannot contain chi and only work when someone supplies them with chi, they can be stored inside the storage bag. "How did you do that?" she asked him while exclaiming. "It's a trade secret." He raised his shoulder and said with a smile. He used soul thread and pick-pocket to rob that old hag. Now his heavenly sense can reach 30 meters, so it was easy to rob someone like that old hag. He didn't get any TP since there was only a single weapon and money. That's why he decided to give them to Eva so he can be free from being her bank. Eva becomes notably happy and didn't mind Ace anymore and starts to store her things inside the storage bag. After some time, Ace realized that he should have never given her that money because after getting rich, Eva wanders around the whole market for the entire evening and buy anything she likes. But they didn't know that unknowingly Ace has robbed the sister of City Lord and alerts someone they shouldn't have. Chapter 42. Brewing Storm. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Following Ace and Eva's departure, in the City Herbs and Weapons shop there was a huge uproar inside the shop. Someone steals a storage bag of Sheila Kaysen, the sister of the City Lord, and the individuals under the suspicion were 2 teenagers. She makes a huge fuss about this because she said that in her storage bag were millions of ruby coins and a Peak 1-star weapon that she treasures dearly. That day only 2 of them were gone to Sheila's floor, therefore, she could only suspect them. Everyone sneers at this claim and some laugh at her secretly because Sheila was a Peak Chi Gates expert and according to her she didn't feel any chi from both of them. But no matter how much they disagree with her or made fun of her, they didn't say it out loud. This incident got quite some popularity because no one dares to mess with Kaysen family inside the Red Mountain City. Sheila was quite an arrogant person and never suffered this kind of loss on her own turf, and the most disgraceful thing was about this is she suffered at the hands of some brats. That's why she didn't want to tell anyone about it first, but she just can't take this sitting and watch those 2 damn scoundrels roam freely. She knows everyone was laughing at her in secret, but she can do nothing to them, it was all her fault. That's why she even used her brother's power in her rage and made a wanted poster. She was going to issue an arrest warrant with Ace and Eva's portraits on the poster. She didn't even know how they looked like because she didn't pay much attention to them like all other unimportant personnel, and those 2 portraits were made according to the description of that attendant. This incident didn't only get attention from normal people, but it attracts the attention of a Chi Foundation building level expert. It was not the City Lord because he was running an errand. This expert. That other Chi Foundation expert was none other than that beautiful blonde girl that Ace saw this morning. Currently in a luxurious courtyard inside the Kaysen family territory. A blonde-haired girl was holding sheets of paper in her jade-like white hands. On her left hand were the portraits of both Ace and Eva, which was a wanted poster that will be issued by the City Lord's mansion very soon. But on her other hand there was also another wanted poster. There was also Ace's, but Eva's face was not there because there was a black fox mask girl portrait in this wanted poster. That blonde girl's eyes were twinkling like stars when she saw that Ace's face was matching the other portrait. "Are you sure this boy appears right after we leave that shop?" asked the girl to a maid who was currently kneeling there. "Yes. Princess Dulce, according to the information provided by the Kaysen family the timing is the same," answered the maid politely. "Heh. I can't believe that the famous Thousand Hands ghost of River Flower City was here, and he's so arrogant that he didn't even change his appearance. He even robbed the sister of City Lord Quinton in their own shop in broad daylight. And here I was searching for him in that little barren city." Dulce laughed joyously, but her laugh was very sinister and now her beautiful face didn't appear beautiful at all. Even that maid starts to tremble seeing Dulce's evil smile. "Go bring those slaves here, and order that old bag to not post these wanted posters without my permission. Now we don't want our prey to become alert, would we?" she orders her maid while giggling. That maid didn't dare to delay even for a second and quickly run to complete her order. "I really wanted to see how will you react after seeing the big gift I prepared for you, Thousand Hand Ghost. This will teach you a lesson not to be too arrogant in the future. He, it's not like you'll live to see the future." The dark laughter of a witch sounded from the courtyard of the Kaysen family that night. Ace and Eva were both oblivious that their identities have been found out by Dulce. It was not their fault to be carefree because in their mind they only robbed a worker of a shop and it's not a big deal. Even if things go south they can always escape using their unnatural skills. Ace was, after all, still a 12.5-year-old boy, and didn't know that with continued success and victory, came a lethal poison called arrogance. One has to be very careful not to be blinded by it, or it can even blind even a deadly snake. The snake thinks no one can kill it because of its venom and he's invincible in the land. But when an eagle suddenly strikes from the sky above, even that arrogant snake can do nothing but to be a mere food for that eagle. Ace thinks no one would be coming here from the river, Flower City this quick, and the time the news of him reached the Red Mountain City he'll be long gone. But a variable occurs differently from his prediction. A girl who he has seen the first time this morning has already found his true identity, and he didn't even know about it. Dulce has already stopped Sheila from posting the wanted posters of Ace and Eva. LC now only the news was spreading around the city, and no one knows how those two teenagers look like. Even if Ace knows of this, he will not be alert by only news. Now the enemy was in the dark and he was in the light. After Ace returned to the inn, it was already dinner time. The black clouds were forming in the sky and winds were howling outside. "It seems it's going to be a stormy night," said Ace while he was eating dinner with Eva. "Yes, my mother used to say whenever a storm comes something bad would happen somewhere," Eva said frowningly. She was also looking outside of the window towards the dark sky. There was also deep sorrow in her eyes when she mentions her late mother. "Well, it would be bad for all those shops for sure that you emptied today." Ace didn't want to see her sad, so he made a joke about her shopping spree that she has done today. Even he was afraid of going out with her now. Humph. It was their fault for only having so little stuff for sale. Well, I still wanted to buy some things, but my 2 storage bags got full. Sigh. Eva sighed regretfully. "We should have bought 2 or 3 more bags, but now that we robbed that old hag, we can't go there again." But she would be going crazy about her storage bag right about now, right? Eva giggles delightfully, hee. I wish I could see her face. Bullets of sweat start to form on Ace's forehead when Eva said she still wants to buy more. She bought more than 2 storage bags worth of clothes and other girly stuff. He has to give her another storage bag. She even shopped for him, and all those things were inside his storage bag and it was almost full. One has to know that the space inside the bags was 5 cubic meters and she had filled them in half a day. According to the system, these storage bags were trash grade and they can only maintain space inside them for 10 years. I should pretend to be ill tomorrow. He made an important decision in his heart. He didn't want to be her shopping partner anymore. After eating dinner, they both left for their room. Ace sighs of relief after he thinks he was finally free from Eva's evil clutches. Ace sits on bedding and takes out some new and old books from this thief storage space and begins to read those books. Staring from those books, he gets free from that aunt today. He smiled after thinking about her. I wonder if her anxiety was because of the money. I hope, with all those ruby coins, she'll be able to solve her problem. I'll visit her before leaving the city. Ace has felt that lady's anxiety with his soul sense, that's why he left all those ruby coins. After clearing his mind, he read those books about the lands of cities, level 4 lands in Azure, Wind Continent, and other common knowledge about the Azure, Wind Continent. So, where we humans lived is called the Azure, Wind Continent, and it's divided into 4 levels of lands: Royal, Empire, Kingdom, and City, and a Wasteland. Ace has some idea about level 4 lands and little information on a kingdom from Eva, but he didn't know about the name and the classification of the entire continent. He did hear about devil, hunters, and blood continents from the restaurant owner where he used to work as a dishwasher, because that owner likes collecting the stories about those top 3 races of the world. Chapter 43. A Tragedy. Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why isn't it mention any cultivation level above the Qi River realm? It seems they wanted to hide this information from all others people of the land of cities. He became confused reading all the books and concluded. Ace knows about all the realms because of the system. Now he knows some common sense about this world. They didn't even allow to let anyone from the wastelands in the cities, they called all those wastelands people sinners. But why? What they have done to get treatment like this? This was his first time reading about it. But even in the books, it didn't mention the reason for why all those people called the sinner. It was as if all the information was erased, or no one wanted to write about it. If a city-level power wanted to go to the kingdom-level lands, they need a kingdom-level power to accept them as a country of their kingdom, and that city has to be able to command a minimum of 10 one-star cities. Even after that, they have to pass a special test of the kingdom. It's only mentioned about this, not the test itself. But these old books hold quite some information. Even these new books didn't have this kind of detailed information. I guess it was my luck to stop at that Auntie stall. He became fascinated by all this new information that he reads in those books. The current strongest city of the entire lands of cities are the New Moon City. And it is quite far from here. I need to travel for 6 months on foot to reach there, and according to this map, that forest we crossed is called the Moon Forest. We have to cross it again, and this time go into the deeper parts to reach the New Moon City. Well, I guess we need to leave this city after this month. It will take only 2 of us almost a year to cross the Moon Forest if we didn't want to get into trouble with the demonic beast. But this is also good, I can gain experience points while in the wilderness and build the heavenly foundation before reaching the city. Ace mused while making his plans. System, convert all the pills in my thief storage space into EXP. Ace transmitted his excited voice in his mind. He needs only a little EXP for opening the 5th gate of the heavenly gates. He bought 2 million worth of white-ranked pills from the market today, and now he was ready to open his final gate of the Chi gates. After that, he would only need to gather enough EXP to build the heavenly foundation. That's why he was excited after seeing he would go to the wilderness very soon. System has converted all the pills into 6,000 EXP. Congratulations, host, on opening the 5th gate of Heavenly Gate. Host status has been updated. EXP 470/20,000 Ace didn't hear the system's voice because the heavenly chi was surging like a tide wave inside his body. He closed his eyes and started to recite the Heaven Stealer technique. In the territory of Kaysen family, inside the courtyard of Dulce. Behind Dulce were standing 2 middle-aged men and 1 old man. Their heads were down. It was clear that they were in a lower position than Dulce. One of the middle-aged men has thick eyebrows and the other was bald. They both were Dulce bodyguards. The old man has long silver hair. He was the city lord of the Red Mountain City, Quinton Kaysen. There was 4 figure kneeling in front of Dulce. They were wearing tattered clothes and there were wounds all over their bodies. It seems they were being tortured before coming here. If Ace were here, he would be shocked to see 2 of these 4 persons, because they were Asher Kelby and Rylan Grant. Yes, they were Asher and Rylan, both grandson and grandfather, in an extremely sorry state. Beside them were another man, Sumyen Kelby, and last of them was the former city lord of the River Flower City, Matthews Layton. All the heads of the top 3 families of the River Flower City were here. But they were not looking like grand and dignified figures at all. Their conditions were grave, especially Rylan's and Asher's. It's all happened 15 days ago when Asher was in Red Mountain searching for Ace like a mad dog. He was the best talent in the entire city and someone has humiliated him for the first time in his life. How could he give up so easily? Even if this was 1-star city, he didn't put anyone in his eyes, especially someone young. Just like another day, Asher starts his search for Ace and coincidentally he bumps into Dulce that day. Dulce was just strolling around the city without her carriage. She was very grateful, to begin with, and when Asher saw her appearance he was instantly attracted by her beauty. He never sees anyone as beautiful as her in the entire River Flower City. But if he ever knows that Black Fox that was always beside him was like a celestial fairy in front of Dulce, he would directly curse Rylan, his own grandfather, for ruining such a beauty. But he saw Dulce first and lost his calm. He didn't even see all those guards with her and directly asked her like a gentleman, "Miss, I would like to know if you fancy a meal with this little one." Dulce thought that it was quite amusing to see someone even dare to hit on her in this barren place. She signaled her guards who were about to attack him to stop and said with a smile, "Of course I'll love to, but only if you can beat one of my personal guards." Asher saw disdain in Dulce's eyes and think that she was looking down on him. In his eyes, it was her honor to get him even asked like a gentleman. If it was his city he would have directly taken her as a bed-warming maid. He said after suppressing his anger. "Ha ha ha, I'm afraid that I would kill Miss Guard accidentally. After all, I can't control my strength whenever I spar with someone." Dulce raised her eyebrow after hearing Asher's arrogant words. Even she didn't dare to say such a thing to an unknown person with all those guards around. Those two Chi Foundation building bodyguards now also wanted to torture him, seeing him talking like this to their princess. She said in a gentle tone, but there was a hint of anger in her voice, "Baldy, carefully break his legs and don't kill him accidentally. I want him to beg for forgiveness." Asher's handsome face turns red in fury after hearing her words. Those guards and his uncle that were sent here with him by Rylan also wanted to attack, but Asher raised his hand and said with a sinister smile, "Ha ha ha, it seems all the people of this city wanted to humiliate me one way or another." He immediately put Dulce on the same level as Ace in his most hated person list. It was still in the center of the streets when all this transparent. Quite the crowd was gathering together to see just what was happening. Some of them start to cheer for Asher to starts the fight already. That Baldy attacked the moment Asher said those words and released his aura of Chi Foundation building realm. Asher's face instantly becomes disorderly and deathly pale after the pressure descends on him. He immediately felt that the pressure was 100 times more than his grandfather's. But now the arrow has already left the bow. A punch was coming straight towards his chest. If that punch from the Chi Foundation expert landed on him, he would be crippled for his lifetime. Asher quickly released his cultivation of fourth gate and he used a mortal level skill. It was the skill of the Grant family. Since he was the most talented youth in the entire city, his grandfather wasn't stingy with him and let him learn the skill of the Grant family even if he was from the Kelby family. Iron Hammered Fist. Asher shout and his fists start to become solid like an iron hammered. This was the mortal level skill. But in front of a Chi Foundation building realm, he was just an ant. But his timely used skill at least saved him from being a cripple. Only his arm was broken. Baldy had a strange look in his eyes, and Dulce's aura began to raise after seeing the skill that Asher just used. Asher could feel that this girl that he was planning to kidnap was even stronger than that Baldy and become even paler. He was regretting being such a moron now. He finally understands why his grandfather warns him not to provoke anyone from the One-Star City. But he was foolish and hit an iron wall this time. Asher was thinking about begging for forgiveness when he heard Dulce's voice filled with murderous intent. "Where did you learn this skill?" Chapter 44. A Tragedy. Part 2, you are listening at NovelFull.audio. Dulce was the fourth princess of the Golden Hammered Kingdom. She was in the lands of cities to observe the New Moon City promotion test and evaluate it. She was busy visiting the cities under the New Moon City to finalize if all the conditions have been met for the promotion test. New Moon City was under the territory of their kingdom, and if any city wants to become a country of their kingdom, it has to be strictly checked because they want only strong countries. That's why the princess herself was here to check and observe everything personally. That's what everyone thinks, at least. Red Mountain City was one of the cities under New Moon City and the last city that Dulce was checking. She deliberately chose this city for last. Because she has another motive to come here. Before her goal would be complete, there were still some days remain. So, she was strolling around the city because she was bored. Unexpectedly she bumps into an idiot, Asher, who doesn't want his life. First, she wanted to kill him, but after seeing his arrogance she changes her plan and decided to torture him. But when she saw him using her kingdom mortal grade skill, it provokes her murderous intent. It was only a low-level skill, but it was still her kingdom's skill, so she wanted to find out where he learned that skill in this kind of barren place. If not for that thing here, she would have never come personally and witnessed her kingdom's skill. The crowd around them has become too big, so she takes Asher into custody. She used a green, ranked pill, Utter Truth pill. This pill can even force the cultivators of Chi Foundation building realm to answer any question truthfully even if they didn't want to. Asher tells everything about the skill. After knowing where the true culprit was, she didn't delay and leave for River Flower City to kill the entire Grant family for their capital crime. But when she enters the city, she heard about the stories of Thousand Hands Ghost and how he robbed both families on the same day. She becomes fascinated and curious about that little thief. She soon finds out that the thief has vanished after he robbed both families. They were still searching for him and the entire city was on lockdown. Asher was also with her, and when he saw Ace and Black Fox's portrait and hear about what they has done to both of his families, his complex becomes extremely ugly. He immediately knew that Black Fox and Ace has tricked him into going out of the city. Now he finally understands why he can't find that little bastard even after searching for so many days, because he wasn't there in the first place. I can't believe that they both tricked me so easily. Asher thought bitterly and grind his teeth in rage after thinking about how his most trusted aide has betrayed him for that boy who was also the reason for this disaster. Dulce ignored Asher, who was fuming with anger. She immediately enters the inner city. With her 2 bodyguards beside her, she was the most powerful person inside this city. She easily reached the Grant family, and Rylan, who was still searching for Ace high and low, was captured by her like a rat. She gave Rylan, who was beaten like a dog, the Utter Truth pill. After the pill takes effect, Rylan starts to tell the truth about how he killed an expert from a kingdom because of his greed and his storage ring. He even tells all the names of the techniques and skills that were inside the storage ring. Asher didn't believe what he heard. Even those Grant family elders who were laying on the ground after getting beaten has only one thought, and that was, we're all dead. Dulce's complex turns ugly after she heard the truth, because the expert Rylan killed was from her kingdom. She read some reports that some experts were once dispatched to kill a traitor, but they never come back alive. She didn't expect that one of them has meets his end in hands of this trash. You know what you have done, right, and the consequences of killing someone from my kingdom. You even practiced the techniques and skills without permission from us. Now the storage ring is in the hand of a little thief and all the skills and techniques are in his possession. I hereby declare that the Grant family execution and the entire River Flower City will be razed to rubbles, and every living being inside the city will be killed without mercy. Captured the city lord and that Kelby family head as well, they can be used as slaves. After killing everyone, check every corner of the city. I want that so-called Thousand Hands Ghost alive. She gave her command in a dominating voice. This was the consequence of turning against the rules that were set by the people in power. No one can break them if one didn't have the power. Rylan thinks that since it was in a 2-star city, no one would ever come here, and carefully controls the skill that he shows in public. He just wanted to reinforce his family's power with that mortal grade skill. When the time comes to fight for the position of the city lord, they would be his greatest asset. He didn't even tell the skill name to anyone. He only let his most trusted subordinates learn it. But he never would have imagined that a little boy would steal his ring under his nose. The funniest thing was, it was not the boy who alerted the kingdom, but the culprit was his own grandson, who was apple of his eye. Even if he has that ring, he would still get caught by this young girl because of his idiot grandson. After Dulce gives her order, the massacre of the entire River Flower City begun. Underscore 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 present day. Inside Dulce courtyard, gentlemen from the River Flower City. Oh, I should be called it former River Flower City now. Well, whatever, look at this young handsome boy portrait, it was just made today. Dulce giggles as she showed them Ace's portrait. All four of their heads were low, and their eyes were listless. They didn't have the energy to even blink their eyes. The four guards who were standing behind them grab their hair and straighten their heads so they can see the portrait. They all grunt in pain when their heads were moved. The first reaction of all four of them when they see Ace's face was not much. But after some time they start to think that the face was looking extremely familiar, especially Asher, Sumyen, and Rylan. They finally remembered this face because this was the face they see countless times in their nightmares, and it was all because of this face that they were in this kind of situation. They all think of torture the owner of this face millions of times and drink his blood and eat his flesh. Kylon was the first one to react, and there was extreme hatred, grievance, and killing intent in his listless eyes. He screams on top of his lungs, "It's him! That thief bastard!" Just like Kylon, Asher and Sumyen start to curse out loud. They didn't know how they got the energy, but their fists were clenching tightly and they were grinding their teeth in hatred. On the other hand, Matthias was very calm and he didn't curse like others, and there was no hatred in his eyes at all. On the contrary, there was surprise, reverence, and a peculiar look, but there was not a shred of hatred. But his expression was hidden extremely well and no one can see it. Everyone knows that he didn't talk much. Even when his whole family being slaughtered in front of his eyes, he never uttered a single word. Even Dulce thinks that his old man has gone mad after seeing all his city being destroyed, so she didn't pay much attention to him all this time. "Okay, gentlemen, now you see your city little rising star is here and I'll give you a chance to get your revenge. We'll start the show tonight and you all are the opening actors," Dulce said as she claps her hands together. She gives them 4 healing pills with a double mysterious pattern engraved on them. They were green-grade pills. They all eat those healing pills and their wounds start to heal at an alarming rate. This is the power of green-grade pills. Except for Matthias, the others, 3 were in high spirits. They didn't even think about running because they didn't even have any place to run. They just wanted to avenge their families or wanted to take Ace into the underworld with them. They were ready to be killed or kill this time, but they were determined to capture that thief. The storm was finally ready. Chapter 45. Immense Crisis. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. After 4 hours, Ace opened his tightly closed eyes. He had successfully stabilized his realm at the peak of Heavenly Gates' realm. He has finally opened the last Heavenly Self Gate, the Gate of Heart. He could feel that his whole body had become lighter. The heavenly chi was pouring in his whole body, meridians smoothly like a stream of a river. The opening of meridians was the sign of the Gate of Heart. His other senses were now ever sharper. While assimilating the Gate of Heart, he also started to absorb the heavenly chi in his meridians. It was the middle of the night and the city was silent. But the weather was the whole other story. Outside were raining cats and dogs. One could hear the deep rumbling noises of the lightning, now and then. Outside of the inn where Ace was staying, the entrance was already surrounded by many guards. On the avenue, 2 luxurious horse carriages were moving. Because of the weather, Ace didn't notice this disturbance at all. Dulce chose to strike now specific for this reason. He would never saw it coming. She heard quite some stories about him and she knew he was very skilled at escaping. That's why she bought all these elite guards. These luxurious horse carriages stopped just before the entrance of the inn. There were many guards around the carriages, but only one carriage belonged to the Dulce, whereas the others belonged to the city lord. They were here for the same purpose, and that was to capture Ace alive. Dulce was very interested in his skills, just like Asher. Ace was still training in his room. He indeed didn't notice all the commotion because of the weather, but he was only staying on the 2nd floor of the inn. Since he had just breakthrough, he was in peak condition. The moment he felt a little bit of movement on the 1st floor with his keen soul senses. The very moment he activated his heavenly sense to see what was happening when he saw all those guards outside at the entrance. He immediately woke up and rushed toward Eva's room. "They're here for us. Ace concludes after seeing all those guards because when he active his heavenly sense he felt two familiar soul signatures. This soul signature was an innate active skill like soul sense. He could record a person's special soul aura or soul signature with his heavenly sense the moment he meets them or they were in his range of soul sense. He gained this special ability when he formed the Yellow Wind Corps. He found out about this ability this very morning when he used his heavenly sense on Sheila and steal her storage bag. That's why the moment he senses two of the familiar soul signatures he immediately knows they were here for him. His heavenly sense was locked on the first floor. He saw a bald man and 4 black-caped men were coming towards the second floor at high speed. They will be here in 1 or 2 minutes. We have to escape before they reached here. Ace didn't even knock on Eva's room and with a shake of his hand the door locked was broken easily. Eva was cultivating when she heard the bang of the broken lock. She was jolt awakened by it and nearly escaped a serious injury. This invokes her killing intent and she was going to attack the person who was responsible for it. But when she saw it was Ace and he has a grave expression on his face, she swallowed her anger and asked, "What happened? Don't you know when someone was in a deep state of cultivation they can't be disturbed or the consequences would be too severe? I'm sorry, but I have to do this because someone is coming for us and they're strong, maybe even in the Chi Foundation realm." Ace said gravely and he was feeling guilty for doing this but the situation was not in their favor right now so he can only apologize to her and make it up to her later. Eva's face turned pale after she hears him, she knows too well just how powerful Ace's senses were. She quickly stood up and said, "We should escape from this window." Ace nodded his head in agreement and opened the window of Eva's room. Some guards were standing outside but if they want to leave those guards can do nothing but helplessly watch them leave safely. Ace and Eva were now at the peak of the Chi Gates realm so the jump from the second floor was nothing but an ant bit to them with their strong bodies. Before jumping both of them active their stealth skills. Baldy with the other 4 black-caped men reached the second floor and directly go towards Ace's room. But when they reach his room it was empty. "That bastard escape again," said one of the black-caped men. It was the voice of Rylan. "Escaped." Baldy sneers in contempt hearing Rylan's words. "You lowly peasant didn't know just how powerful is a kingdom-level power. Didn't Princess find out where that rat was hiding in an hour? So, just shut the hell up and only followed the order that was given to you by Princess." Badly said in a cold voice and begins to check the other rooms. The silent inn becomes very noisy because Dulce has given the order to other guards, turn this entire inn upside down and capture that little thief no matter the cost. Even City Lord was with her so how could anyone dare to disobey her order? When everyone was searching for the thief inside the inn. The thief has already escaped the perimeter of guards. Ace and Eva had only escaped 40 meters when they bumped into a strange invisible barrier. The moment they contacted the invisible barrier it starts to shine like a sun. The dark rainy sky around the inn turns into a day because of that intense light. Ace's face changed color from white to blue and he wanted to swear badly. He didn't know what this strange barrier was but he does know that he was trapped and in a deep crisis. It was his first time encountering this kind of grave situation. From the stars of his journey 4 months ago he always succeeds in his mission and escaped without a scratch. He unknowingly becomes arrogant and careless. He always thought that he could escape anything with help of his skills and system until now. No matter what skill he used he can't even find a hole in that barrier like he always does after using his true false eyes skill. It was because the skill efficiency was not high enough or the skill itself was not enough. This time Ace panic. He finally has a taste of despair and his hands start to shake a little. It was his first time after becoming a cultivator that he loses his calm like this. Is this the end? He mumbles softly. Ace's mind was in a mess when he felt a warm softness on his trembling hand. He looked beside him. Eva was holding his hand tightly and looking in his eyes as she says gently, "We'll escape from here and after that, you have to go on shopping with me, alright?" Eva's gentle voice awakes him from his panic state and he calms down a great deal. He couldn't help but feel blessed to have someone like her beside him in this situation. If there is a next time, I'll not make this kind of mistake. He made an oath in his heart. At this time, he suddenly remembers a black face. He remembered a man named Cole, and his words. Remember, boy, never get arrogant no matter what, or when someone stronger than you tamper on you like an ant, you will never be able to stand again. Note. He met him in the outer region weapon market. Ace takes a deep breath and completely calms down. He finally understands the meaning of those words. He was about to look for an escape route when a voice rang in the vacancy. Now, because of the barrier's light, everyone could see clearly. And Ace only now noticed the rain was not falling in the area around the inn as well. What a touching scene, I want to cry. A sliver of ridicule could be felt in this beautiful voice. Ace and Eva turned around and saw the bold and powerful soldiers standing outside the inn. Of course, the most striking were the 2 horse carriages. Who are you and what do you want with us? Ace asked while he was scanning the invisible barrier with his heavenly sense. He wanted to buy some time by talking with this girl. He was scanning the invisible barrier when he heard the system voice inside his mind, Host has been trapped inside lowest grade formation barrier. With Host's current level of power, it is impossible to break this formation. The system suggests to find the power source of the formation or the formation plate that is controlling the formation. The system has already deducted 20 TP on its own since Host is busy. Thief points, TP. 670. Chapter 46. Sky Like Despair. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The sound of the system was like some angel voice in Ace's ears at this moment. He finally understands what this barrier was and what he needs to do to break it. But how the hell a formation appeared in this kind of place? Ace grimaced. One has to know that the formation was not something that a city should have. Someone from a kingdom is targeting me. His senses were extremely sharp, and with little clues, he quickly guessed just what kind of a power he was dealing with. Ace was distracted by the system for a moment, but he quickly focused on the carriage. Because of the formation barrier, the rain has stopped falling inside the area of the barrier, and the 2 carriages' doors were begun to open. From the carriages inside, 2 people got down. The one with the robust body was the city lord Quinton. He had a very small white beard on his old face, wearing a golden robe and adorned with shiny gold ornaments. The other was Dulce. A girl with blonde hair and a graceful figure, with a gentle smile. She was wearing a green skirt. When she saw Ace and Eva, those clear like water eyes suddenly glittered with a slight shimmer. Let me introduce myself, my name is Dulce Golden, and you must be the infamous thief of Rive, Flower City, Thousand Hands Ghost, right? Dulce swept past Ace with her 2 eyes as she introduces herself. Both Ace and Eva become astonished after seeing who the owner of this carriage was. It was the same blonde girl they saw outside of the city herbs and weapons shop. After hearing Dulce's sentence, Ace becomes a little confused first because he didn't know who this Thousand Hands Ghost was, but after he heard River, Flower City's name, his heart tightens. He finally understands why this girl was targeting him and Eva. Yes. On Ace's face, there was no fear. Although he was facing a noble figure from a kingdom, he was still very calm. He could see that Dulce come prepared and knew who he truly was, so hiding his identity as a thief anymore was meaningless. He also felt Dulce and 2 men standing behind her. Their strength had reached the Chi Foundation building realm, especially that old man who comes out from the other carriage. He was more powerful than the early stage Chi Foundation building realm. You quite fearless even in this situation. Not like the thief that I heard about who can only escape after doing his deed. Dulce said in disappointment, after seeing Ace was not reacting as she had imagined. Beto Ace didn't say anything, and he was still searching for the power source of this formation, just like system suggests. He didn't know what a formation plate was, but it was definitely in the hands of this girl. After all, who in their right mind would give this kind of thing that can control this kind of formation to someone else? At this time, a group of people from the crowd rushed out and pointed at Ace as they cursed, and it was evidently clear from their black hooded capes on their bodies that they were Baldy Party who was searching for Ace inside the inn moments ago. Little bastard. I'm going to kill you after I torture you for all your pathetic life. One of them said grimly with cold eyes filled with killing intent. He reveals his face. It was Rylan. Ace becomes surprised after hearing this voice, and when he sees the face of Rylan, he becomes shocked. What is he doing here? All of them reveals their faces. When Ace saw their face he was even more surprised. He didn't know who the other three were, but seeing their outfit was matching Rylan's, they were also from River, Flower City. Ace didn't recognize the other three, but Eva does. She lived inside the for many years, so she was quite knowledgeable, especially about Kelby and Grant family. The middle-aged man is Sumyen Kelby, the head of Kelby family. Beside him is Asher Kelby, and the other old man is Matthews, the city lord of River Flower City. She whispered. Ace's eyebrows were continuously moving up and down after Eva revealed the three men's identity. He has enmity with both Kelby and Grant's family. If they were the ones who were helping Dulce he could understand it, but what the hell is the city lord himself doing here? Dulce saw Ace's confused expression and guess what he was thinking. She was waiting for this exact moment. You seem to be confused about why a city lord of the city was doing here, abandoning his city. Let me enlighten you. The Rive Flower City is no more. Meaning it was destroyed 10 days ago. Ace's face becomes extremely pale as if there was no blood left. Despair filled his eyes as he forgets that he was currently trapped inside the formation and asks Dulce in a trembling voice, How? No, it's impossible. Even Eva was shocked after hearing this. She didn't care about that city much because she didn't have any good memories about it. All of the memories she had about that city only held pain. But Ace was different from her, and that city was where he was born, and his whole family grave was also in that city. He has very strong emotions attached to that place. No matter how much he has suffered in there, that was still a place he called home. If this news was really real, Ace would fall into deep despair and become vulnerable. This was the exact thing Dulce was aiming for from the start. She was extremely clever and a schemer. She didn't know if he was from that city or not, but if there was the slightest chance he was from there, then he would definitely fall for her schemes. She wanted to break his fighting spirit. That's why she left those four alive, especially the city lord. She saw Ace's expression and smiled broadly. After all, my guess was not wrong. Those idiots didn't even think that. How can a thief suddenly appear out of thin air, and an extremely young one at that? He definitely has some big secret. Who wants that trash ring anyway? She thinks happily. This was her real goal from the start. She wants Ace's secret, not the storage ring. Since a secret can make a little boy this powerful, then what about her? That's why she wastes so many resources just to search for him back then, but she didn't find him in that city. She thought that he has escaped and she would never be able to take his secret for herself. But when she got the report of someone robbing Sheila, she immediately investigates this matter. After finding out that it was the same thief, she becomes extremely excited. She even used a precious light barrier formation, just to make sure he would not run away, and she succeeds in the end. If you don't believe me, you can ask your former city lord. Not a single person remains alive except from these four, or I should say 6 after counting you and that girl. Dulce giggles as she points her finger towards Matthews. Ace looked towards Matthews. There was little hope in his eyes. He didn't want this to be true. Matthews saw Ace's hopeful eyes and a peculiar glint flash past his eyes. He takes a deep breath and said, she's telling the truth about the River Flower City being destroyed. No one left alive except us, and she's the one who destroyed the city and kills everyone. Ace's eyes turn bloodshot and he roars at Dulce in rage after Matthews confirms her claim. Why? They were all innocent people. Heh, innocent. They get what they deserve. There's some rules that you lowly slaves can never break. That slave killed one of my kingdom's people and practice our skills and techniques according to the rules. They deserve to die. Dulce scoffed as she pointed her finger towards Rylan. Her words were like sharp daggers that directly stab Ace's heart. In his eyes she didn't seem beautiful at all, he could only see a ruthless bitch. Ahahaha. Then what about you? Who should punish you? Ace's words were filled with murderous intent. The majority of the crowd couldn't help but have shivers run down their spines hearing his ear-piercing laughter. Dulce wrinkled her brows, her face filled with anger. She said with a cold smile, "Punished me. I'm afraid it won't be you because you don't have the power, and even if you have the power, so what? You can never do anything to me. I'm a princess of a kingdom and you're just a slave of a kingdom the moment you're born here. Even if I annihilate half of the land of cities, no one will punish me. You know why? Because of the status and power I represent. In a kingdom's eye, all of you are just thralls." Eva felt extreme pain in her heart after seeing Ace in this state and felt burning rage hearing Dulce's ruthless words. She wanted to kill her right at this moment. Even Rylan, Asher, Sumyen, and the crowd including Quentin felt rage burning inside their heart after they heard Dulce's words. But what can they do but swallow their anger and stand there like idiots? Good, very good. So this is the real face cultivation world. As long as I have power I can do anything. Ace laughs like a lunatic as he said those words, but tears were flowing through his eyes as they become completely black. This was the first time he wanted to kill someone this bad. All of a sudden, a cold black smoke arises from Ace's body. In the sky, thunder starts to rumble after that black smoke emerges from Ace. Even Dulce could feel that this smoke was not normal. She feels extremely cold sensations from that smoke. Everyone including Dulce felt the sudden rapid drop in the temperature of the atmosphere. Some guards with weak cultivation even start to shiver. Hurry, attack him, he using some kind of dangerous skill. She shouts in a panic. This was not in her calculation. She didn't think this little thief has this kind of card up his sleeve. Quentin with Dulce's personal bodyguards attacked the moment they hear her command because even they could tell something was extremely wrong with Ace. Eva panicked as well. She was the closest to Ace and the black smoke almost frees her hand that Ace was holding. She endures the pain but she didn't let go of his hand. Ace didn't know what was happening around him. He has just one thought in mind, and that to kill Dulce and annihilate her entire kingdom to avenge all those innocent people of River Flower City. He only hears system voice in his mind. Hidden conditions have been satisfied. The host can now open the other 4 hidden gates of heavenly gates with 600 TP, in system's voice. There was excitement. Chapter 47. Hidden Gates of Darkness, Part 1. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace's mind was in chaos right when he heard system's voice. There was some kind of mysterious power in that voice. He immediately regains his senses. But his eyes remained pitch black and the black smoke didn't vanish either. He felt extreme coldness coming from his body like he was in the depth of a frozen lake. He could feel something wants to burst out of his body, like there was a mysterious power that wanted to be free from its shackles. He didn't have time to think what it was because he saw 3 powerful experts of the Chi Foundation realm were coming towards him with killing intent. With a thought 2 gray beads appear in his hand. They were invisibility beads. Ace placed an invisibility bead in Eva's hand that was very cold because of him and said, "Quickly shatter this bead." Eva's hand almost froze, but when she saw Ace regain his calm and give her a gray bead, she didn't delay and quickly do as she told and shatter that bead instantly with Ace. The moment they shatter the gray beads, a gray light enveloped them and they vanished in thin air. Everyone saw this and exclaimed in shock because all this happened in seconds and Dulce's force didn't have time to react before Ace and Eva vanished in front of everyone's eyes. The 3 experts were about to reach Ace when he vanished with Eva, but they didn't stop and released their aura of Chi Foundation realm. Around their fists, Chi starts to form like they were wearing the gauntlets of Chi. This is the manifestation of Chi. One can only do this after they can reach the Chi Foundation building realm. They wanted to attack the spot where Ace was standing before disappearing with full power. If he was still around that spot he would be gravely injured. Boom! 3 fists were landed on the spot where Ace was standing just a second ago, but they meet with only dust and an empty void. Dulce's face turned extremely ugly when she saw this and said in anger, "Find them. They can't breach this barrier. They must be somewhere in this area surrounding the barrier, and that strange treasure won't last forever. They will appear sooner or later, we just have to find and capture them the moment they will appear. They're just two rats in a big cage. Dulce, order everyone to search for them, and if they spot them they have to immediately report." She didn't expect Ace to have that strange bead that can even help him escape 3 Chi Foundation experts. Even she can't feel that coldness coming from Ace anymore. She was now more determined to capture Ace and take his secrets for herself. Inside the inn on the 5th floor in an empty room, 2 persons appear out of thin air. They were Ace and Eva. Eva has a curious expression on her face. She was fascinated by those 2 gray beads' miraculous power of invisibility. They can escape with ease even with all those experts presents right in front. But that invisible power only lasts for a single minute. As much as she wanted to inquire about the origin of those gray beads, she can't, because Ace's body was still releasing that black cold smoke and his eyes were black. He was giving a feeling of extreme chillness. He wasn't looking like a human at this moment. "I know how you're feeling right now. But we have to find a way to escape from that strange barrier before they find us again. After we escape, if you want, we can seek revenge for all those innocent people, and I'll help you with it," she said in a worried tone while trying to console him. Ace was still feeling deep grief and pain. The images of Cole, that auntie, and her son, the restaurant owner where he used to work, those streets of the city, were appearing in his mind. He will never be able to see all those people, his home ever again. They were all gone. Sigh. He sighs after heard Eva's words. He has to find a way to escape here before avenging them all. "I'm fine, just give me some time to calm down," he said to her, and sits down in the corner of that room. He also saw the black smoke coming out of his body and system message. He transmitted his voice inside his mind. "System, what is happening to me, and what are these 4 hidden gates?" Host has awakened the innate attribute of the Heaven Stealer, darkness, won by feeling true despair. This was supposed to happen when the host would be encountering the first heavenly punishment. But it seems that unknowingly Host has touched the minor law of darkness, and that is despair. Because of it, the host can now open the 4 hidden gates of darkness that was forming inside your body from the first day you start to steal the chi from heaven. Without opening these gates of darkness, Host will never be able to build a heavenly foundation of darkness. Ace didn't notice the excitement in the system's voice because he was only feeling deep coldness, nothing else. His mind was extremely calm, and he asked calmly, "Darkness and despair, you telling me it is my choice to form foundation of darkness or just a heavenly foundation?" From the moment Host chose to learn and practice the Heaven Stealer technique, you chose the road that leads to darkness. The chi that the host steals from heaven is called primordial chi, and it comes from its personal treasury, which is a primordial void. Because this primordial chi can help anyone become as powerful as heaven itself, it never allowed anyone to take that primordial chi, and for eons, this primordial chi has been growing in quantity. But that primordial void is dark with no speck of light there, and now eons after the primordial chi itself has become dark as primordial void. That's why Host has formed these gates of darkness the moment you start using this dark primordial chi. The system didn't ask for any TP for all this mind breaking information. Ace take a deep breath of cold air. Now he finally understood why this heavenly or primordial chi was black. "So, I was always in the path of darkness from the start." He laughs at his ignorance, but when he remembered Dulce's words of contempt towards the life of a commoner, the coldness in his eyes deepened. Even heaven that controls everything is unfair towards everyone, much less a mere moral bitch like her, Dulce. "System, you have emotions. I felt the moment you start talking about primordial chi, and I don't know what you want with me, and I don't care anymore as long as you can give me the power to protect everyone I hold dear. I will do your bidding even if you want me to slay the heavenly king." Ace's cold voice transmitted in his mind. He finally felt the emotion of the system. The system didn't say anything as if it didn't care, and Ace also didn't have enough time to inquire further about it, so he said while his pitch-black eyes shine darkly, "Open the gates of darkness, let the darkness be my eternal acolyte." He knows from now on the darkness will be the closest to him, or it already is in face of the system. Confirmation received, system has deducted 600 TP and the opening of the gates of darkness has begun. Please brace yourself, host. Veins starting to pop out all over Ace's body the moment system voice range in his mind. After a moment he fell from his sitting, his hand and legs begin to twist. He was currently feeling pain worse than death. The black smoke enveloped his entire body like a cocoon. One can only see a glob of black smoke, not Ace's body anymore. Eva panicked the moment she saw him fall and hurriedly moved to pick him up, but the black smoke has already enveloped his body and she can't get closer to him. The temperature of the room starts to fall at a rapid pace. Inside the smoke globe, Ace felt his blood was turning extremely cold. It was changing like all his body whenever he opens a heavenly gate, and now all the blood inside his body starts to absorb the heavenly chi, and the crimson color of his blood has more deepened, almost turned black. But this time the chi inside his meridians were not like vague black but complete pitch black, it was the chi of primordial darkness. The sixth gate, blood of darkness, has successfully opened. He didn't have time to hear system's voice because after his darkness blood gate the space between his eyebrows starts to tingle. He called it the mind space. This space was formed because of his soul cultivation, and in this space was his yellow wind soul core. The soul core was currently floating in the center of his mind space. It was like a glob of yellow cloud. But suddenly chi of darkness starts to enter his mind space and space starts to turn black from its white transparent state. That wasn't the end, the space starts to expand and so was his soul core. He didn't know how much time has passed, but after the expansion of his mind, space stopped, it changed completely. Now it was like a dark sky, and in the center of this dark sky was a big yellow soul core. It was like a sun that was illuminating the entire dark mind space. The seventh gate, mind of darkness, has successfully opened. Only laws will be written like this. Chapter 48. Hidden Gates of Darkness, Part 2. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace was on the verge of collapsing. The pain that was coming from the opening of two hidden gates simultaneously was unimaginable. He wanted to make it stop many times, but whenever he remembers that his home was destroyed and countless innocent people have died in that bitch hands, he would grind his teeth and persist. Two more, he thought while clenching his teeth. He was feeling extreme pain when he suddenly felt his heartbeat was becoming extremely slow. It was on the verge of stopping. Inside his inner heart, chi of darkness, black smoke, starts to enters, and inside of his heart starts to turn vague black. He didn't feel any pain from it, on the contrary he felt comfortable as the chi was moving inside his inner heart. By opening the fifth gate of heart he has only opens his outer heart with heavenly chi, and he didn't feel like this before. The eighth gate, inner heart of darkness, has successfully opened. Ace was finally feeling some comfort when the black smoke around him starts to enters his abdomen. He groans in pain and felt a chill all over his body. This black smoke was merging with the heavenly chi inside his body and forming a whirlpool. It was like a forming of a black hole. After some time, all the smoke was sucked inside that mysterious whirlpool. After his heavenly chi one merging with that black smoke in his abdomen, it's create darkness chi, and that black whirlpool was filled with darkness chi. The most fascinated thing Ace noticed about that black whirlpool was, it was converting all the heavenly chi inside his body into the chi of darkness rapidly. He was now out of that globe of smoke and his eyes have turned back to normal. The ninth gate, gate of primordial darkness, has successfully opened. Congratulations, host. You have formed the void of primordial darkness. All the skills related to darkness have been reached perfection. Host status has been updated. System sweet voice transmitted inside his mind. That black whirlpool inside my abdominal is called void of primordial darkness. And what was that black smoke that can even create this kind of thing? He asked the system with his thought. But before Ace could hear System's answer, he felt two soft hands on his face and there was hot water dripping on his face. He becomes confused and saw just where that water was coming from when he saw Eva crying face. That water was her tears. Nothing happened to you, right? I was so scared that I would lose you too, just like my father and mother. She said while tears were flowing from her eyes. There was relief, happiness, and gentleness in her beautiful eyes as she was looking at him. Ace felt touched after he saw her crying for him, and a little warmth spread in his cold heart. He holds her hand and said softly, I'm fine, it was just some strange issue with my cultivation technique. So, don't worry about me. Eva finally had a sigh of relief after she saw him turning into normal and hearing his assuring words. Don't make me scarred again or I'll never forgive you ever. She said as she looked directly into his eyes. He nodded his head. Ace smiled after seeing her like this. He nearly forgets that there was still someone with him all this time who never left him. Dnov he stood up and heard System voice, yes, that is the void of primordial darkness, or you can call it the dark void. It can convert host primordial, heavenly, chi into darkness chi, and it is the essence of crystal body that host cultivates. That smoke of first darkness was a gift from System for host achievement. The System was supposed to give it after host felt the minor law of despair, with the help of heavenly punishment, but host did it on his own. Ace nearly cursed at the System after he hears that, this is not rewarding at all, if you were going give it to me from the start. He transmitted his angry voice inside his head. But like always there was not a reply. Show me my status, he said while he was getting used to his new prowess. Status panel, host. Ace White, race. Human, no bloodline, heaven. First mortal sky heaven, martial cultivation. Heavenly gates of darkness, complete, DXP, 0/50,000, soul cultivation. Yellow wind soul core, SP, 999/1000, extra. 1031, thief points, TP. 70, skills. 5, stealth basic. Perfection, silent steps basic. Perfection, true false eyes basic. Middle, pickpocket. High, treasure opening hands, basic art. Fourth form, cultivation technique. 2, Heaven Stealer Technique Volume 1, Dual Shadow Swords, First Realm, Current Mission. 1 Ace saw his status and nodded in satisfaction. Only his EXP changed and he needs to collect 50,000 now, but he didn't care. His skills related to darkness have reached perfection. That was what he was ecstatic about the most. That pain was worth it. How much time has passed since we come here? Ace asked Eva in a calm tone. After opening gates of darkness, his aura has completely changed and now he seems calmer than before, and he was giving off a feeling of a bottomless dark abyss. Only 2 to 3 minutes have passed since we come here. She replies in a daze. If Eva didn't see all the suffering Ace had gone through, she would have thought he was a completely different person after seeing the deep look on his eyes. Furthermore, she felt even closer to him for some reason, and this feeling was not vague anymore either. But she can't put her finger on the exact reason for this. I felt like years has passed inside that black smoke and only 2 or 3 minutes has passed. He deems in bewilderment. But he quickly shifts his gaze outside of the window. Everyone was searching for them with everything they had, seeing all those guards and especially Dulce Carriage. Ace's eyes turn cold. He wanted to find out just how powerful he was after becoming probably the first 9th gate cultivation of this world, or maybe the entire mortal sky heavens. You stay hidden and I'll go find a way out of here, he said to Eva. Eva didn't want to leave him alone and wanted to go with him when she saw Ace was showing her a gray bead in his hand. I'll be fine with this bead. You take one as well. If anything goes wrong, use it for escaping. I have more than enough for me," he said with a warm smile as he placed an invisibility bead in her soft hand. She finally nodded her head and gave in after seeing the mysterious bead in his hand. Ace didn't delay any further and left the room. "It's time for the hunt." His eyes were filled with killing intent as he mutters those words. Outside of the inn. Inside Dulce's carriage, Dulce was feeling very uneasy for some reason. She saw Ace emitting that mysterious black smoke and that strange treasure bead. She was feeling something was amiss. This was not in her calculation at all. She even starts to regret her decision to toying with Ace instead of capturing him from the beginning. She suddenly felt that cold sensation again, and that was coming from the inn upper floors. Since she was outside of the inn, she can't pinpoint the exact location of that coldness, but she could tell that was coming from the inn. Inside. He's inside. Dulce holler, "Go and capture him for me. If he dares to resist, kill that girl and break his limbs. I want him here in 5 minutes. Don't test my patience. You 4 slave, go with them. Don't dare to try any tricks. Let me tell you, those 4 healing pills were poisonous, and if you don't get cure in 10 hours you all will die painfully," she said to Matthews and the other 3 from River Flower City in a vicious tone. Matthews and other smiles bitterly hearing her words and finally understand why did this vixen give them those precious green-ranked pills so generously. She would never let anyone who could cause her trouble in the future be left alive. They all, including Dulce's guards, the city lord, and the 50 elites guards, enters the inn after Dulce gave her order, and only a few guards remain beside her. Inside the inn, Ace was on the 3rd floor when he senses the moment on the lower floors. After the opening of Mind of Darkness gate, his range of heavenly sense has increased from 30 meters to 50 meters. He was feeling wonderful right now. With his perfection level, stealth, and cultivation of 9th gate of the Heavenly Gates realms, even peak stage Chi Foundation building realm experts can't pinpoint his location anymore. Only Chi River realm experts were able to locate him. 2 black swords appear in his hands as he smiled coldly. He was set for hunting. Primordial Chi equals Heavenly Chi. Chapter 49. A Sudden Truth. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The Grand Inn of the city was empty after the commotion Dulce made, and all the customers, including the owner of the inn, was now standing outside. They didn't know what was happening, but they didn't dare to utter a single word because they saw just how this young girl was ordering around the city lord like a servant. Ace was moving while his stealth was active. Even in the light, one could only see a blur moving around the floor. These were silent steps in perfection mastery. He was as fast as peak-level Chi Foundation building realm. Ace saw few guards were heading towards his way. He stopped moving and hid his presence with stealth. A moment after, 5 armored guards come to his view. Ace moved similar to lightning. Dark aura started to surge into his swords. He slashes with lightning speed, and a dark horizontal beam carrying vigorous and tyrannical darkness power hacks towards the 5 armored guards' necks simultaneously. This sudden fierce attack left those guards simply no time to dodge. That black beam simply passed through their necks like a hot knife into butter. First, they didn't know what was transparent with them and wanted to alert others about Ace's position, but after a second, blood spilled from their necks, and the next moment 5 heads with wide-open eyes were rolling on the floor, dyed red with blood. You have killed 5 cultivators in 5 endgate of Chi Gates realm. You have earned 500 EXP. EXP 500/50,000, just so. Ace faintly said as saw those 5 heads rolling on the floor coldly. He finally understands just how powerful he has become after opening the 4 hidden gates of darkness, and his HD.Chi 1 was more powerful than Heavenly Chi. Ace didn't stay here for long because their 5 were only the fragment of the large force that was currently inside the inn. More guards were coming towards him, and this time with them Ace sensed many strong presences, Chi Foundation experts. He thought as he faded inside an empty dark room. Look. 5 corpses of our brothers. A loud alarming voice of a guard rang inside the hallway. Everyone saw 5 headless corpses were lying there on the bloody floor. Everyone's face turns pale, including Rylan, Sum Yen, and Asher, and a chill runs down their spine. They wanted to kill Ace the most because according to them he was the main reason that they were in this situation. But after seeing 5 headless corpses of 5th Gate Realm elite guards, they finally understand just how powerful Ace truly was. Now there was dread in their eyes. Matthews was relatively calm after seeing that bloody scene. From the start, he didn't want to capture Ace for some reason. Those 5 didn't die too long ago, probably only 2 or 3 minutes have passed. He should be here somewhere. Search every single room. Don't engage in a fight with him, he's too strong for you all. If you saw him, just shout out your position. We have the numbers advantage," said Baldy in a grave voice. Even he, a Chi Foundation realm expert, was feeling some pressure after seeing those 5 clean-cut heads. Everyone swallows their dry saliva and starts searching extremely carefully. But no matter how much they search, they can't find Ace. What they find now and then were new corpses of guards. Ace didn't go after the Chi Foundation realm experts, he was going after those Chi Gates realms, elite guards. It was like Ace was chipping away their weak forces first. Quentin's heart was bleeding after seeing all those guards' corpses. These elite guards were personally nurtured by him and they were supposed to show their worth in that special test of New Moon City promotion, but now almost half of them were gone. How could he not be furious after seeing this? "Little bastard, shows your face if you have guts," Quentin howled angrily in the hallway. Now everyone was sticking together, only 20.7 out of 50 guards were remain after 10 minutes, and they didn't dare to vent alone in these dark rooms any further. In their mind, that guy was supposed to be a petty thief, but he was more like a professional assassin. Ace was listening to Quentin's angry roar and sneer after he hears that old bastard's shameless words. He was alone and that old geezer wanted him to expose himself in front of all those experts, and oh, thank you very much. He has killed quite some guards, and he noticed that everyone was sticking together now, and hunting them one by one was almost impossible. But those idiots were so scared they didn't dare to leave this floor alone. Now even those Chi Foundation realm experts were sticking together. He was quite confident to kill that old guy who was barking just now and was the strongest of them all. But with all those guards and Chi Foundation realm experts together, he would be seeking death by going out in the open. He was just thinking about what to do next when he saw the door of the room open. A person enters the room and he was alone. His eyes turned cold and he was just about to attack him when that person spoke in a low voice, "If you're here, please hear this old man out, I'm not your enemy." Ace didn't believe that old man first, but he could feel that this old man didn't have any killing intent or bad intention towards him. He hesitates a little, but when he saw the face of that old man he becomes astonished, because it is the former city lord of the river, Flower City, Matthews Layton. Matthews sighed as he thought it was another failure, and he was about to leave when a chill run down his spine and froze on the spot, because from behind a sharp blade edge was placed on his throat. "What do you want with me?" "You have 10 seconds. Ace whispered. Cold sweat was dripping from Matthews's forehead. He didn't expect Ace to be this skilled. He can even sneak up on a Chi Foundation realm expert like himself. Matthews inhaled deeply and said in a faint voice, "I know your father, Owen White. As for how did I figure out who you are, that is because your face is almost identical to what your father showed me that time, and you resemble him as well, especially your dark blue eyes. I can never forget them, they were the same as your mother's, Stella White." Matthews felt the sword on his throat quiver a little when he said those names, and finally, that sword edge was removed and a young man comes in front of him. It was Ace. Ace has a look of nostalgia and confusion on his face. 2 vague faces appear in his mind. They were the faces of his parents. It has been too long since the last time he saw them and heard these names. He was only 4 years old when he heard the news about their death in Wastelands. But why did this city lord know about their names? Even he didn't know much about them. He only remembers that they were low-level cultivators, and his grandparents didn't tell him about their past either. Matthew see Ace's troubled face and guess what he was thinking and said, I know you have too many questions like how I know your parents and why didn't I help you when you were alone and many more. But I can't tell you anything because even I didn't know much about your parents. I met them 9 years ago in Wastelands. They were wounded quite badly at that time and were hunted around by their enemies. It was only a coincidence and I wanted to help them but their enemies were far too strong for me to handle. I think they can see through my nature, especially your mother with her dark blue eyes. After they make sure I'm not an evildoer, they only tell me their names and ask me to look after their son. Your father used some kind of mysterious skill to show me your appearance in my head, and after that, he mysteriously sends me far away from that place to save my life. If he wants, he could have just let me die there. It was after all my fault for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But he didn't do that. He even entrusts his son to me and used his last bit of power to send me away. This kindness I'll never forget. After returning to the city, I tried searching for you in the inner region for quite some time but failed. At that time, I think that they would have been escaped from their enemies with their prowess and take you away with them, and stopped my search. But who would have thought that you were inside the city all this time and you even become this powerful by relying solely on yourself? I was quite shocked when I saw your portrait after you robbed that old goat and his son. Law. I was quite ashamed of myself at that time after thinking about, you should really go through extreme hardship that it even forced you to become a thief. He laments as he finished his story. Note. It was actually, Heavenly Darkness Chi, but it was too long so I simplify it into HD.Chi. Chapter 50. Fighting Dulce. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace lament hearing the whole story of Matthews. He was having a hard time believing that his parents were so mysterious and powerful. But with his powerful soul sense, he could tell that Matthews was telling the truth, but there was still something he was hiding. Why are they in River, Flower City if they were so strong and have a poor lifestyle? Even grandma and grandfather didn't tell me anything about it. He thought in dismay. Suddenly he remembered Eva's story of her parents. His mind began to work at lightning speed. Are they being in the same kind of situation as her parents? It was a mystery that he can't solve because he didn't have any clue. He wanted to ask more but he heard footsteps approaching the room. He sighed and suppressed his urge to ask more and said to Matthews in a deep voice, I don't know much about my parents' secrets either and I'm grateful to you that you tell me all this. But we didn't have much time to talk, we have to escape first. Matthews nodded in agreement and said while his expression turned solemn, Dulce is alone outside with only 10 guards, you should take this chance and find a way to her. I'm poisoned and can't hold more than 7 or 8 hours. You have to get her storage ring. Everything we need is inside that ring. Ace's eyes turned cold as he heard Dulce's name and nodded. He was still grateful to Matthews for telling him about his parents, and to repay this favor he wanted to save him. He opens the window and jumps outside. He wanted to take this chance and take down Dulce and get revenge for all those innocent people. Matthews saw him leave from the window and a crafty light flashed across Matthews's eyes, but it vanished as soon as it appears. Because he saw Rylan was coming towards this room and left quickly as well. Inside her carriage, Dulce was waiting for 15 minutes now and her face was filled with violence and anxiety. She would hear some noises now and then, but can't tell the exact situation inside. The feeling of uneasiness was also getting stronger every passing minute. Suddenly she felt outside of the carriage has become extremely silent. She opens the door, wanted to see what was happening outside when she saw only the corpses of guards. Her face turns ashen and she quickly takes out a sword from her storage ring. This sword blade was red and was giving off the feeling of fire. There were 4 red dot gems were engraving in a mysterious pattern on its hilt, a 4-dot star weapon. She comes out of the carriage for the fight. Her pride didn't let to call for reinforcements, because in her eye the target was only a petty thief. And she was a mid-level Chi Foundation building realm expert. On top of that, she was a princess of the kingdom. So, what if you take down these trashes? You didn't know your place. Surrender and I will only plant a slave item on you. You can be my third personal bodyguard and I'll let that girl accompany you as well. You can't win this fight. She said loudly. She was feeling uneasy but she can't show this to her enemy. Slave item heh. How do we know I can't win this fight? Until I try, right? Ace's cold voice sounded in Dulce's ears with a chuckle from behind. She swiftly turns around and 10 meters away from her was standing a handsome boy with two pitch-black swords in his hands. She felt a thick murderous aura from Ace. Only you. I was hoping for you to come to your sense but it seems you can't be saved and want to rebel against your owner. Let me show you just how high heaven truly is. Dulce said as she rushed towards Ace. Dulce's steps were very light, it was similar to superficially treading only using the tip of the toes. Not only was it fast, but she carried herself with graceful and strong momentum. Dulce saw Ace motionlessly standing there, his whole body was full of openings. When she saw Ace trying to predict her steps from her footwork skill, she curls her lips in a sneer, nah. V. She leaped into the sky like a butterfly, the sword in her hand starts to move, and a swarm of slashes full of chi form after images overflowing from the top of the sky and surged towards Ace. Vigorous chi shook the air with ear-piercing sword's noise. Obviously, Dulce's sword and footwork were impressive. Ace didn't imagine this kind of attack and at that moment, he simply couldn't escape the countless sword slashes. He didn't think this weak-looking girl would know such an overbearing skill. Ace Chi 1 starts to flow in his two swords and he used his own sword technique. He slashes his long swords horizontally and short sword vertically. A huge black cross was formed in the air from Chi and both attacks clashed together. Sha, in a blink of an eye, the clash of both swords was stopped. Dulce because of her cultivation and powerful skill comes on top and Ace's body was slashed a few times from her attack. Ace was shocked seeing wounds on his body, even his Chi wasn't able to stop that attack completely. This was probably his first time getting injured after he starts cultivation. He becomes even more serious. He thinks that now he has opened 9 gates he should be enough to take down this arrogant bitch but he was NA.VE. She's different from all others. He thought. Actually, he didn't know that Dulce has opened 6 gates before she builds her chi foundation. The royal families of first-grade kingdoms have methods to open 6 chi gates and those methods come from ancient sections. Ancient sects have controlled these lands for countless years and they didn't want to lose control. So, they only give less powerful and incomplete techniques to build a weak foundation to all the power of low-level lands. By making these techniques incomplete and create holes in the foundation of these powers, they can never rebel against sects ever. Because one can also build a foundation by opening 3 chi gates as well but they will never be able to progress again. All those people in the lands of cities can only build a foundation of 5 gates and can only reach the Chi River realm in their lifetime with extreme difficulties. That was also the reason why these cities can control the huge wastelands because they didn't have a method to open even 5 Chi gates. This information was tightly controlled by these sections. They only gave the methods to open 7 Chi gates to a first-grade empire, and methods to open 6 Chi gates to first-grade kingdoms. This way no kingdom can ever rebel against empires, and empires can never reveal their fangs against sections. If Ace knows about it he will hate all the sections. But he has opened 9 hidden chi gates and they aren't just any hidden gates, they were primordial darkness gates. Even those sex prodigies can only open 8 chi gates. He was the strongest in chi gate realm. People like Dulce with 6 gates foundation can only press him in mid-stage of their realm, they can't kill him. Dulce's face turned ugly after seeing him only injured a little from her strong attack. She didn't expect that she can find an opponent in this barren place and he didn't even reach the Chi Foundation building realm yet, on top of that he was just a 12 years boy. She was going to use her full power this time because before she didn't want to kill him accidentally and wanted to interrogate him about his secret. But now she felt extreme humiliation, and this invoked her killing intent. Seeing he escaped from her first attack, if this news were to spread to the kingdoms, she would become a laughing stock of Land of Kingdoms. Ace saw Dulce has become serious. If they were alone and how much he hates her, he would definitely fight her to death. But it was not the case right now, because after the commotion that was made by the collision of their attacks, Dulce guards have been alerted, and like Ace, they had jumped from the flood to reach here quickly. One day I'll destroy your entire kingdom, just you wait. Ace said with killing intent and active his stealth. By using his silent steps, he was too fast for Dulce. He escaped successfully from her, and he has again entered the inn. Dulce felt she might explode from anger when she saw that Brat escaped from her grasp again. But she was no match for his speed at all and stomped her feet in anger. Suddenly her focus turned towards all those people standing not too far away. They were all the customers and the owner of the inn. She nearly forgets about these people because of Ace. Only now did she realize that they were spectators present here, and these peasants see her begin humiliated by Ace. Her eyes turned cold after thinking about it. All those people were watching the whole scene transparent in front of them and shocked to see that little boy fight equally with a princess of the kingdom. They wanted to cheer for that boy, but they wanted their life, so they just pretend that they were not here and didn't see anything. But now that crazy princess was looking towards them with cold eyes, and their faces turn ashen. Baldi and Dulce, another personal guard, finally arrived at Dulce's side. When they see the aftermath of the fight and cuts of swords on the wet ground, their face become pale like other spectators. That boy can fight her highness and even escape alive. That was the thought of both of them. Dulce sees both of their faces and guessed their thoughts: kill all those slaves, and if I hear any of this from anyone, you're both dead. She orders and warns them coldly. Both of them shiver and nodded like crazy in agreement. Dulce didn't say anything, and she slightly shakes her finger to place the sword in hand inside her storage ring. But the sword didn't disappear as she thought. She becomes confused and looks towards her storage ring to see if there was a problem. But when she saw her ring finger, it was empty. You scoundrel thief! Dulce explodes in anger as she convulsed a mouthful of blood. Heavenly darkness chi equals HD.chi.